Greetings, fellow conquerors. This is darkfireslide, and I just realized that my air conditioning unit was on for the entirety of that hour. Oh, God. I'm actually the worst YouTuber ever. Anyway, so let's get back to answering questions here in this second part of this answers section. So next we have Misty Gaming for Life, who says, sounds like a great idea for a campaign. Glad you chose mine. Good luck and congrats on 2,500. Well, hey, thank you, and thank you for being a part of it. You know, every single one of you, you matter, and you mean something to me. Next we have Zayvoon, who says, woo! Zayvoon, of course, a constant commenter in a lot of my videos. Next we have Noob Games, who asks, what was the first grand strategy game you played? And honestly, the answer to that is EU4, is the first truly grand strategy game that I've played. But apart from that, the first non RTS that I played was Civ 2, and that was forever ago. I was probably 8 or something like that. I had no idea what was going on. But yeah, I played some Civ 2, and it was pretty fun. But yeah, first strategy game ever played, probably Command & Conquer Red Alert. My dad was really into it, so those are kind of my roots in the genre. But I grew more over time to like games that focused more on history and stuff like that, and so naturally EU4 was kind of the evolution and the next step. Next we have Oil Bucket, who says, woo! Byzantium playthrough! Woo! And question, what do you study at college/uni? Well, I study English, actually. I am going for a bachelor's in English and a minor in computer science. So hopefully, if I'm being frank with you guys, I would really love someday to do this for a living. I think that would be amazing to stream and be an actual full-time content creator. But if that doesn't pan out, then I have a very strong resume with English and computer science, and just a nice backlog of a good skill set for whatever field I plan on going into. So anyway, next we have Okrutny Borsuk, who says, well, I don't play EU4, I suck at strategy games, and I know very little about the game, but I still find your videos to be enjoyable to watch. You upload videos daily and your commentary isn't boring. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you. Now the question, could you briefly describe the strengths and weaknesses of the Polish Commonwealth? P.S. I like your new Poland-Ballish channel icon. Yes, I chose Georgia for the Poland Ball thing because, I don't know. I had one really successful run as Georgia, and then I tried it again later. It's the only nation I've ever tried twice, and didn't really go over so well the second time. But the first time I did pretty well. Almost restored the Byzantine Empire as Georgia, and that was fun. But anyway, now the question: could you briefly describe the strengths and weaknesses of the Polish Commonwealth? Poland has a very strong start, with their only real weakness being, first of all, that Lithuania is their primary powerhouse, and that they rely on Lithuania for a lot of their stuff. They're also Eastern Tech, which means that their Western neighbors are quite dangerous. So yeah, they can lose Lithuania in a personal union, but other than that, Poland has some very strong ideas. And once you get into the late game and you're westernized, they pose a very serious threat in the late game with their morale, infantry, and cavalry combat, and their national unrest reduction is pretty great as well. So yeah, Poland's very strong in EU4. Alright, next we have Tropical Storm 4213 for the Q&A. What is a good nation for a player that is looking for a challenge, but not something super hard? Also, is there a chance that there's a Super States mod game coming? I'm not sure what Super States is. I'm assuming it's a mod, but I've never looked at it, and I don't want to make any promises on mods until we're at the point where I feel like playing mods. So, anyway, what is a good nation for a player looking for a challenge, but not something super hard? I would say Bohemia, and trying to form the Holy Roman Empire is a great way to go about doing that. Spain is also actually fairly challenging for a large nation. Sweden as well actually has its bits of challenge to it, even though it's a very satisfying nation to play because your troops are so good. And those would be what I would recommend within Europe itself. Outside of that, the Timurids can be pretty fun to play, and trying to form either Japan or Qing are also pretty fun as well. Next we have Randy Romero, who says, what are plans for this channel in the future? I plan to continue to do EU4 content, and once I get into a situation where I have better internet speed, I would also love to do games like Mountain Blade Warband and RPGs. I don't just want to be an EU4 YouTuber, but for the time being, that's what I'm going to focus on, just because it's what my viewership likes, and it's what I feel comfortable playing, because I'm good at it. Not that I wouldn't play a game that I'm bad at, like Crusader Kings, for example, but for now I'm sticking to EU4 just because of my upload speed. Next we have Dimdorm, who asks, how many hours do you have in EU4? I have 765 as of the recording of this video, if I remember correctly from the last one. Aaron, E-R-O-N, asks, a bit unrelated from EU4, but what are your PC specs? I am running a fairly lackluster build for this time. My PC is 2 years old, and I'm currently running a 670 GTX with actually only 4 gig of RAM, if you can believe that, because I got suckered into buying a pre-built, and with a terabyte hard drive. So I also have an i5. I forget which generation. The processor's fairly good. But the RAM is definitely starting to show its age, as is the card itself, which kind of sucks. But I'll be upgrading eventually, so no worries. Next, Seth Holdcroft says a lot about Byzantium. He kind of gives a good guide on Byzantium. I kind of want to get through these questions, so I'll leave that one to be. But thank you, Seth, for your edited guide to Byzantium. Next we have Lucent Gamers, who says, God save the Byzantine Empire. That's right. Bow before the Basilius. Next we have Teddyson, and who says, dude, I love your work. Just one thing that really annoys me, you have to buy a new mic. I think that would make you grow even faster, and it would be easier to watch your videos. Yeah, I apologize for that. Before when I started recording, my volume was too low, but I boosted my mic, and now people are noticing more the issues of quality with my mic, and I apologize for that, because I'm not really in a great financial situation, and buying a good quality microphone is something that's really costly, and I will one day get a better one, don't worry. I don't plan on using this $20 headset forever, but for the time being I am unfortunately stuck with it, so please bear with me, and I will eventually upgrade. Next we have Clay again. What nation will provide the greatest learning experience for a scrub? I highly recommend watching my top 10, my newest top 10, the best nations for learning how to play the game. I think that will answer all of your questions, because that gives you 10 nations to pick from rather than one. Next we have Captain Tamauski, who says, holy shit, I remember when you had 150 subs, which was like a couple weeks ago. Now look at you, you're all grown up. Cheers, BB. Oh, thank you. Next we have Sinistar Productions, which sounds terrifying, by the way. I bet the second nation will be the Knights, and, well, you're staring at it. Anyway, what's your favorite Horde nation? Not counting the Byzantine hordes, or not the Byzantine hordes, the hordes of Greeks, the Eastern Roman horde. Anyway, apart from the Manchu hordes, I'd probably have to say Crimea, just because they have a very interesting starting position, and my first ever multiplayer campaign was as Crimea, and I did really well. I basically ended up becoming Russia, and just annexing all the things because horde core cost reduction. Next we have Daniel Pace Jr., who asks, what are you going to college for? I kind of already answered that, but as far as the career field he's asking about, I was kind of planning on becoming an editor, but now I'll just do pretty much anything that I can get with an English degree. And with a computer science minor, of course. Next we have Paul Kilborn, who says, I love your videos, and they've really helped me with the game. Before I found you, I put 3 hours into trying to understand the game, and gave up, and am now over 30 hours, so thank you. And finally, and you're welcome. I really, I wanted this to be a channel where you could learn not just from, my guides and my top tens, but also from actually like watching me play the game, because I understand that not everybody has time to dump like 800 hours plus into this game to learn its intricacies and its finer points. I get that. I sympathize with that. And anything I can teach you to help you become better at the game, and help you enjoy it more, I really, really want to do that. So yeah, you're absolutely welcome, and thank you for being a part of the channel. Number one, what DLC do you use? Is it just common sense? Alright, I use 5 DLCs. I use Art of War, which is the only DLC I think you really need to play EU4 in its current state. So Art of War, Common Sense is a really close second on the need scale, because it eliminates the need for some of the other DLCs. So Art of War, Common Sense, El Dorado is fun for the custom nations, though it's not necessary. Let's see. After El Dorado, I have Res Publica, which mainly you get for the ability to make a national focus, which gives you +2 to one kind of point at the expense of -1 for the other two. So good if you have a surplus of points that you don't know what to do with. Yeah, so after that, I think I have Wealth of Nations, but I don't play with it on because it makes Westernization hard, and so I might turn it back on after the expansion Rights of Man comes, since they're changing the text system. But for right now, yeah, I have Wealth of Nations turned off. And I also have Conquest of Paradise so that I can actually play in North America if I ever feel like it. So number 2, will you ever play anything else? I feel like you might appreciate Mountain Blade 2, Bannerlord. I have, of the time of this recording, 560 hours in Mountain Blade Warband, so I am absolutely pumped for Mountain Blade 2. Unfortunately, I tried recording some Mountain Blade footage, and it takes up an ungodly amount of space, which would take in turn forever to upload, and so it's not really an option for me right now. Considering how little views I would probably get on it, but I'm just letting you know that in the future I will probably do Mountain Blade once my internet is better. And number 3, what other games do you play off camera? I play tons of games, way too many games than is healthy. I play a lot of the Total War series. I play The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. I play a little bit of FTL. Play a lot of Mountain Blade. I think the only MMO I really ever got into was Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2. I really liked Guild Wars. Had a very cool feel to it. Let's see, apart from that, what else do I play? I used to play a lot of Company of Heroes. Not so much anymore, but I played a lot back in the day, especially the first one. Second one, probably not quite as much, but, still a lot. What else? Really, it just depends on the week and my mood. I can't think of any other game I've played as much as it. Well, I played a lot of Skyrim. Don't know if I really enjoyed all the hours I played. I also really enjoyed Fallout. I really enjoyed Fallout New Vegas. I love Fallout New Vegas. I have a love-hate relationship with Skyrim, because I think Skyrim has a lot of flaws, honestly. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, so next person, Peter Kesa. Says, France or Ottoman, which is the best, strongest nation in EU4? Of the two, honestly, France is going to be the stronger nation because they're Western and because they get Elan, which gives them 20% land morale. So overall, just better than the Ottomans. Though their start is a little more precarious, I would say. Alright, next we have Soy Luciano, who says, hey, congratulations, man. You totally deserve this and thousands more. As for the question, what are you studying? I'm studying English and computer science. And apart from EU4, what's your jam? I kind of said that in the you kind of just answered that, so I'm going to kind of skip that. Although, another game I didn't mention that I used to play a ton of is World of Tanks. I've played like 11,000 matches and had like a 53% win rate for any of you World of Tanks players out there. So a good player, but not like exceptional. 932 Vlad has a funny question, and then he asks, here's an actual serious question, what do you think on forts? I answered that in the last section, but I'll answer it again. I think forts are too expensive, and I think their price should be reduced, and other than that, they're fine. Although the later forts are a little too hard to siege, in my opinion. Question: how did you first discover EU4, and why do you enjoy playing it? First discovered it because a friend bought it for me. He ended up not liking it, but I love it. And why do you enjoy playing it? I enjoy playing EU4 because it's a very, very... it's not a simulation, but it is a very good and fun, specifically, representation of the politics and ideas that existed during this period of history. And I enjoy playing it because of the ridiculous ahistorical stuff that can happen in the game that makes it so interesting from like a historical perspective. And also how much personality the nations have as AI. Next we have that was the only creator one, by the way. Next we have Silvestri the Unknown Human, who asked, "What city do you live in?" I don't feel comfortable answering that, so I apologize. Matthew Fulton, do you play Victoria 2 or any other Paradox game? I already answered that in the last video, the last part, but I have played Victoria 2, and I have played Hearts of Iron 4, Stellaris, and Hearts of Iron 3 as well. Next we have Logan Brennan, who asks, "What is the most challenging part of videos, and do your friends and family know you do this?" The most challenging part of this is definitely trying to keep the content interesting, particularly in the Let's Plays. The top 10s kind of come naturally to me, even though people disagree with my lists. I mean, it's kind of the point of the top 10 list, is so people can kind of like argue and bicker about it. In a constructive way, of course, and but also people can learn things from it because it's a very condensed, like, here's the top 10 idea groups, here's the top 10 nations of this type. Like, it's just very simple to understand. But the most challenging part of videos is during the actual Let's Play, keeping it interesting without just falling into the lull of like, oh, well, we're declaring war now, and we're killing rebels now, and we're doing this now, and, you know, being very monotone about it. So that is definitely like the hardest part for me for making videos, especially since Let's Plays are like the longest videos I make, apart from these apparently, and my is quality ideas worth taking video. Do your friends and family know you do this? Yes, they do. And my mother is actually very proud of me for doing this, and, you know, if I make a living off doing this, everyone's going to be pretty excited about it. So next we have Imogene. Time for my second set of questions. Then shall we? Number 1, who's your favorite musician, and what's your favorite song? That is a really tough question. I hate putting it to a T because I love so much music. But, oh man. Give me a second to think about that while I answer the other questions. Number 2, once you offered that you could record gameplay of an RPG, are you still interested in doing that? I am still very interested in doing that, but RPGs, typically because there's so much going on, compared to EU4, the file size is usually massive, and that makes it very difficult to upload them properly. So, yeah. So I plan on doing it someday, but not until I get better internet. Number 3, why are you so enjoyable to watch? Well, obviously it's because I'm extremely charming and always entertaining 100% of the time. I never make mistakes as well, unless it's on purpose to keep people entertained. Seriously though, there is an art to entertainment, and basically I look at, and you notice I get a lot of comments like this. People say, like, you know, hey, I like that you're different from Arumba and different from Shen and different from Quill in your commentary, and it's very much that I try to role play a little bit when I play these games, because for me it's not about the min-maxing and doing as much as humanly possible in the game. It's about role-playing the kings and the leaders and the country itself, and being like, you know, would this country do this? Would this king do this? Right? Like, I give a speech in the first part of the the first Austro-British War in my Britain Let's Play, and I think that's really like a defining moment in the series. Just of how much commitment I have to the actual, like, flavor of the game, as opposed to just you know, the bland numbers of it, I guess, the statistical stuff. Now that's not to say that Arumba and Shen and Quill don't deserve their subscribers. They definitely do. But they provide a different type of entertainment than what I try to present, which is something that is friendly to new players, but also just entertaining to watch and be a part of. It's fun, is what I try to have with the game. So anyway, next, how many achievements have you got in EU4? Not a whole lot, because I don't really play for achievements. Probably like 5 or 6, honestly, because I have only played on Iron Man a couple times, and I found it to be kind of miserable, honestly. Number 5, what country is your favorite to play in EU4, and why is it Desmond? Fun. I've never actually played as Desmond, but at some point we will, because we need to have a Desmond Wrath of the Gods campaign. My favorite country, of course, is Muscovy, as I've said multiple times. Number 6, pizza or kebab? That's a good question. Considering I usually remove kebab, I think I'd have to go with pizza. And also, thanks for providing daily entertainment, and may your channel continue to prosper. Thank you very much. People like you make it all possible and give me the motivation to keep going, even when I'm feeling like a little down or something. So back to the favorite musician and what's your favorite song. I think, honestly, my favorite group is the band Everclear. They were a 90s band, and my favorite song is either Santa Monica or Father of Mine. Both are very good songs, and I love the sound of it and how it addresses a serious issue in the United States, especially Father of Mine. So yeah, next we have Barbaros Akildiz. There we go. Ally Poland build galleys, he says. Yes, that will be probably something we do as Byzantium. Masked Corp says, I find that you have a nice balance of entertainment and information, and you have a good neutral voice without being boring. So I subscribed to you a couple days ago. Cheers. Thank you. He then asks, if you want a question, will you ever do a Denmark playthrough? As a bit of an obnoxious Danish nationalist, I get off on seeing the Danish colors smeared across the globe. Less players tend to peter out in the late game playing as Denmark, though, so it'd be interesting to see if you could pull off something more significant. I may play as Denmark someday, either on camera or off camera as a recap. Just because people really liked my Trebizond recap. Just because it was not an extremely quick guide, but it was a quick overview of the country. Kind of like a review of a country almost. Next we have Sind4, who says, great job, man. Congratulations. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Gavin Hughes says, do you like CK2? I like CK2. I'm terrible at it. Probably because I haven't played enough of it. Next we have Stetchy Stetch, who says, I don't normally comment on any video, but I feel like you deserve that kind of attention. That is extremely flattering. Next we have my question. What's your favorite subject in school? History, actually, definitely. And my question towards the game. How do you deal with France in the late game, or at the stage they get Elan? It was always difficult for me to defeat the French troops. Love your videos, and greetings from Germany. Well, whatever military advantage your country has, if you have one, some countries aren't so fortunate to have actual, discipline or morale of armies, which are the two big ones. You need to either... first of all, you need to get alliances. You need to get tons of alliances. Second of all, you need to be big enough to make a contribution. And if you're not big enough to take on France, if you don't have at least as many men as France, plus your allies, then you're fighting a losing battle just because French morale is so high. Apart from that, doing a good military build where you take 4 military idea groups, preferably the gamut of quality, quantity, and defensive and offensive by the end of the game. Another good way is to get an actual tech advantage that matters. Some notable ones are Tech 15, Tech 22, Tech 16 as well. Tech 26 and Tech 30 are all good techs to try to take on France if you have a tech advantage. And, yeah, so thank you. I know you don't normally comment, but, hey, you matter just as much as everyone else. Next we have Tropical Storm 4213, who says, damn, you doubled your subs and then some in a week. Congrats, keep up the good work. Thank you, and yeah, I hope we keep up the momentum. I love this channel growth, and I love seeing so many new people being a part of the content. Next we have Adrian Bonatianu, who says, do you have any mods and which would you recommend? I don't have any mods myself, but Extended Timeline is a very good one from what I've heard. And there are various UI enhancement mods that make the game easier to see, for example. Yostin Nepal asks, from what country are you? I am from the United States. Daniel Pace Jr. asks, what's your favorite way to screw over your opponents in EU4? Do you like to force a religion to cause turmoil, support rebels, destroy personal unions, or something else? My personal favorite way of screwing up a country is getting an alliance and then exploiting one of my enemy's alliances. So, like, if I want to fight France, but he has a really dumb alliance, like he's allied to East Frisia or something, like, I'll declare on East Frisia, even if it's like a no casus belli war, and that way France gets dragged into a war with a ton of, like, major powers that I've allied, and his only friend is East Frisia. So that's my favorite way to screw people over, is to abuse their bad alliance choices. But I also really love the new espionage in the recent patch, so that's pretty cool. Barbaros asks, where do you live? I said, the United States. I think I said that 3 times now, but it's okay. Just want to answer every question. I'm not getting impatient or anything. Yostin Nepal asks, do you think it's possible to conquer the entire world in EU4? And I mean every single province, and if so, is it possible to do it without being the Ottomans or the Holy Roman Empire? Yes, it is entirely possible to conquer the entire world. It is entirely possible to conquer the world as Ryukyu, a tiny island connected to Japan. And in fact, there is an achievement for doing so. World conquest is a very cheesy thing. You basically have to use exploits to do it for almost any nation. But it really helps to start out as a big nation like the Ottomans, or Austria, or anyone in the HRE. But yeah, it is entirely possible. Many people have done it. I myself don't want to do it because it's a very cheesy process. It's very painful because you are essentially virtually always at war, constantly getting coalitions, and it's just generally miserable. And your admin tech sucks as well. And now that admin tech actually matters, it's painful. So yeah, but yeah, it is possible. It is definitely possible. People do it all the time. People post on the Paradox forums all the time about it as well. Speaking of which, if you've made it this far, check out the Paradox forums if you haven't. You can get some really good advice reading on things, even if you don't plan on getting your own actual opinion in there. In particular, there's a guide. I forget who did it, but there's a guy who did a guide on all of the different tech groups and what units are the best for them at each tech level, because sometimes you get a choice between your troops. And he goes over what he thinks are the best for each tech group at each tech level, as well as like general tactics on how to use units. So very, very good guide. I might link it in this video, even. So next we have Stardust, who is the last comment, and he says pizza for life. I absolutely agree. Although I am partial to macaroni and cheese myself, pizza is also fantastic. So that's every question. I only gave 3 days to actually respond to this, so I apologize if you were late to the party. But I really wanted to get this out because I've been itching to answer the questions and get it uploaded. And I'm sorry it's an hour and a half. But I figure if you are part of the channel, you'll be interested in this, and it'll give you something to come back to kind of listen to me talk about my life, talk about the game, this fantastic game that we're all a part of. And lastly, I want to say, you guys are a fantastic community. I go into my videos and I expected to see like tons of troll comments and haters and things of that nature. And honestly, I get nothing but love and respect, and you guys treat each other with love and respect too. And I really appreciate that. You guys are amazing. Keep on being good to each other. I want this to be a channel where people can come in and they can say, hey, I don't understand how to do this, and then they can get actual advice. And I love seeing that in the comments, where people will actually like give advice on how to play a country to someone who is struggling. And I love that about this channel. You guys are amazing. So anyway, that's gonna wrap up this Q&A. I'm kind of scared when I get more subs if I do another one in the future, just because I'm probably gonna get, first of all, similar questions, and second of all, it's gonna take even longer to do. So I probably have to pick and choose at that point. But anyway, thank you all for joining me. Thank you for being a part of this channel. And, Excelsior, ever higher. Let us continue on and forge a channel here and make a name, for ourselves. So thank you very much, and I'll see you guys on the next one.